This video is not being made with the intention of looking for hate. It's pretty bad I had to say that, but with today's world online, everyone is so damn sensitive and hateful. Hello guys, how are you? David Franco here from davidfranco.com, thefrancouniversity.com, as well as some other websites, my social media links, all that stuff is right below. Check it out, I appreciate it. And if not, that's okay. I still love you. So today's video, I'm calling The Problem with Fanboys. Now, I've made videos like this in the past, and believe me, I've received a fair amount of hate, but I can promise you one thing going into today's topic. I'm going to be respectful, and I expect you to be respectful in return. We need to act like humans. We're not apes. Yeah, we could have evolved from apes, I guess, in some form or fashion. Yes, I do believe in evolution, but that's beside the point. Okay, the problem with fanboys. Now, this has been an issue for years. Fanboyism is the worst it's ever been nowadays, especially with the whole iOS versus Android thing, PlayStation versus Xbox, Windows versus Mac OS. It's pathetic. It is so freaking pathetic, the fact that people have to defend themselves. I mean, guys, it's just so sad that when I post an iPhone video, mentally, in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, this is going to attract some Android fanboys hating on the iPhone. Why? I don't know. Maybe they're insecure. I have no idea. So, yeah, anyway, let's just jump into today's video. I do have some notes down here, so if you see me looking down, that's just because I don't want to miss anything. So, like I said, fanboyism is the worst it's ever been. I realize this has been happening for years now, even back to the days of, like, Nintendo versus Sega, even Coke versus Pepsi. People actually get passionate over that, and that's just sad. It's a freaking drink. It's a drink. Why do you care what others drink? Relax. Relax, I'm getting heated. But I will say this. I understand why people can sometimes come off as fanboys. It's because you're passionate. That's why. I mean, I'm passionate. I'm pretty damn passionate about Apple and PlayStation and Xbox and even Pepsi. I prefer Pepsi over Coke. Okay, maybe I'm not passionate about Pepsi, but I almost always go with Pepsi over Coke. And that's just how we human beings are wired. We're wired to find brands that we enjoy in life and stick with those brands. That's called brand loyalty. And there's nothing wrong with brand loyalty. However, the moment you take that brand loyalty and you turn it into hate against others, that's the point where you've just lost. That's the point where you're disrespectful and kind of an asshole and a douche. Sorry, but it's like the truth. If you're gonna diss someone over their choice of something else that's not what you like, that's not their problem. That's your problem. It says a lot about your personality. Okay, so let's focus on technology as an example. EMS just went by. Now see, I think that happened for a reason. The EMS went by because somebody could actually be in real trouble. And here I am, defending my brand loyalty for brands that I enjoy. It's a very interesting world we live in, that's for sure. Anyway, I hope everything's alright. So let's focus on technology because that's the most obvious example for today, because with Apple's recent announcements of the iPhone 8 and especially the iPhone 10, I've been seeing so many just ignorant and hateful comments, all for the wrong reasons. So, like I said, people tend to worry about what others buy. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm going to spend my money the way I want. You can spend your money the way you want. I mean, come on. There's people out there who criticize me for owning 3 iPad Pros. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. But this especially applies to the smartphone market. Android fanboys seem to act so insecure when we get a new iPhone once a year. Why can't you let us enjoy the excitement? I mean, I realize sometimes iOS users can jump on Android users. I mean, I honestly don't see nearly as much hate on our side that I do your side. It's very amusing when Android fanboys crawl out of their little holes that they've been hiding in all year. But then when Apple comes out with the iPhone 10, they're like, oh, Samsung's been doing this for years. Apple's late to the game. You guys are using shit. iPhone sucks. Apple sucks. Apple was better when Steve Jobs was alive. And by the way, side note, maybe, just maybe, I'll make a video about this in the future. But can we please stop saying Apple was better when Steve Jobs was alive? Steve Jobs would have done this. Steve Jobs would have done that. You don't know shit I don't know shit, because chances are damn good you don't know Steve Jobs, or didn't know in this case, unfortunately. I didn't know Steve Jobs. I saw him in person. He was literally inches from me. A moment I will never forget in New York City at the 5th Avenue Apple Store grand opening. Awesome, awesome experience. But I didn't know Steve Jobs, and let's face it, even when Steve Jobs was still alive and still in charge at Apple, Apple still made some odd decisions. iPod Hi-Fi, anyone? Mobile Me? Anyone? So what's your excuse there? Steve Jobs wasn't perfect, and neither are you. David, you're getting off track. Going back to the iPhone X. So yeah, people claim that their Samsung phones have had these iPhone X features for years. Bezel-less display, Face ID. Well, first of all, you don't have Face ID. You have facial recognition, but you definitely don't have Face ID because I'm pretty sure in assuming that Face ID is a lot more complex and secure than your precious little facial recognition has been in years. So yeah, just a little thing to keep in mind. Face ID literally projects over 30,000 invisible dots on your face. Does your Android phone do that? Does your Samsung facial recognition do that? I highly doubt it. So just saying. And that's another thing. Why is that an argument? Why, if company A releases a feature, why does that suddenly mean company B cannot release the same feature? That kind of logic just, it honestly baffles me. That's like saying Sony released the first 4K TV, so Samsung can't release a 4K TV. Now see, just saying it out loud sounds pathetic as hell and stupid. It's a really, really stupid argument. And when has Apple ever been about being first? They were hardly first with anything. Maybe a few things here and there, something like the iMac G3 and whatever, but the iPod was far from the first MP3 player, and it's the most successful MP3 player to ever exist. The iPhone was certainly not the first smartphone, but look at it. It blew up within a year, the most successful smartphone to ever exist in this world. The iPad, far from being the first tablet, far from it. But look, it absolutely killed the tablet market. 3 products like that are no accident. Maybe 1 could be an accident, but 3? That's not an accident. That's not a coincidence. That's called Apple being smart. They sit back, they observe the market for a couple years, and eventually they release when they're ready. Now, why some anti-Apple people can't realize that? That goes beyond my understanding. Oh, and also, quick note, this video is not meant to be hateful towards anyone. I'm just expressing my opinion because I cannot stand the amount of ignorance I see out there in Facebook comments and YouTube comments. It's just, wow, it's pretty bad. So, answer me that. If company A releases a feature, why can't company B release the same feature that could potentially be better? That's what the tech industry does. Company A copies company B, and vice versa. Company B copies company A. And maybe that feature is better than the first version of that same feature. Face ID, nothing new, but in theory, it's going to be a lot better than anything we've ever had on smartphones. Why can't people realize that? Touch ID, not the first fingerprint scanner, but from my experience and from my research I've seen online, it's better than Android phones. So just something to think about. Just because you're obsessed with Android or Samsung, that shouldn't be enough reason for you to automatically disregard the competition. You need to appreciate what Apple puts out there. Because guys, I am honest when I say this. I definitely appreciate what Samsung puts out there. I'm not a Samsung fanboy, but I appreciate the Galaxy S8. I appreciate the Galaxy Note 8. Both of those phones look downright beautiful. I haven't used either, but from what I've seen online, they just look kick-ass, and I definitely want them in my possession, especially the Note 8. So if anyone has a contact at Samsung, please email me. I'm serious. Or any of the carriers. Okay, so I guess my main point behind that part of the argument is don't be so quick to judge. Just because someone is first to the party, that doesn't mean they're the best. And that right there is fact. That's not even my opinion. That's fact. Do I have to remind you? iPod, iPhone, iPad, and even Apple Watch now. Okay, so I don't consider the Apple Watch to be like a runaway success, but it's definitely the most successful smartwatch to ever exist. So perhaps that is another example. Again, it's no accident. Apple is one of the most profitable brands in the industry. No, in the world. for a reason. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. They work their asses off. They study the market. They put millions upon millions of dollars into R&D for all of this. And look where they are now. They were quite literally bankrupt years ago, and now they're just killing it. Okay, so the same goes for the gaming industry. Let's talk about this real quick. I'm not going to talk about this too much because it's the same exact thing, just different brand names. Sony fanboys, okay, and this is just an example. Sony fanboys have bragged for years about how the PS4 is so much more powerful than the Xbox One. Yeah, your specs are better. Okay, I mean that sarcastically, but sometimes specs do mean a lot in regards to a gaming performance, because I will say, a game like Uncharted, you know, on the PS4, Uncharted 4 I should say, that game just blew my mind. The graphics and the quality, just overall an A+ presentation. It's a true indication of what the PS4 is capable of. Oh, but get this. Then Microsoft comes out with the Xbox One X, you know, not S, X, which in theory is going to just obliterate the PlayStation 4 Pro in regards to specs. So now suddenly the Sony fanboys are once again crawling out of little holes and saying, oh, specs don't mean shit. Okay, so then why were you saying that all along? Why were you touting specs if they're suddenly not relevant? You make yourself look like a fool. It's just another example of how fanboyism can make you look like a dick. Not literally, but that would be pretty cool if you're literally like a walking penis. I would just knock you over and run away. Guys, you just need to know this. And unfortunately this is not common sense, and this is never going to be common sense, because this video could be pointless, I don't care. I'm not going to change anyone's mind, that's fine. This is just my outlet, this is my chance to express my opinion. Each console has its perks. PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch. I own all three. I bought all three with my own money. And I love the fact that I have the option. And pretty soon I'll be building a gaming PC. I cannot wait for that. Why? Because I'm not some closed-minded fanboy. My mind is open to new options. I'm not loyal to just one or two brands. I'm loyal to several brands. And well, you should be too. Just saying. Okay, so to almost wrap up this video, I gotta ask this. So why do fanboys exist? I'm asking you, comment right below, why do fanboys exist? Okay, so I do have a few possible reasons that I've come up with myself. Number one, brand loyalty is powerful. You can't blame someone for being loyal to a brand. But again, don't take that loyalty and turn it into hate for other brands. It's just not cool. It's not cool. Number two, fear of change. Some people are quite literally afraid of change. Look at Apple taking away the headphone jack on the iPhone 7 Plus. It doesn't affect me one bit. It really doesn't. And sure, it affects other people. But some people just can't handle change. Which is why I'm really glad Apple has announced both the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 10. The iPhone 8 is more traditional iPhone, but with better cameras, better specs, and all that stuff. But the iPhone 10 is for someone like me, a forward-thinking technology geek. I'm a proud geek, whether you like it or not. That's who I am as a person. So I like being an early adopter of new technology. And guys, keep in mind, moving forward, the iPhone 10 could be the future of smartphones. Bezel-less, I think, is the way to go. And yes, I realize it's not the first bezel-less phone. I'm not saying it is. But let's face it, Apple is one of the only companies in the world that can truly change the tech industry with standards. They have done it before, and they will do it again. Alright, going back to my reasons. And number three, why do fanboys exist? Maybe they cannot afford the competition. And I'm not saying that to be demeaning or rude, but some people are not as fortunate as others. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have enough money to buy my consoles whenever they release. For instance, I have the Xbox One X on pre-order. And I'm not saying that to brag. I've worked hard to get where I am in life. But I understand some people can still only use something like a PlayStation 3. But that shouldn't be enough reason to hate on something like the Xbox One. That's not a legitimate reason at all. So just work hard in life and you'll make money over time, and eventually you can buy yourself more nice things in life. That's just how it is. It also comes down to basic budgeting. It's very important to budget how much you spend on this and how much you spend on that. And finally, reason number four, and this might be demeaning or rude, but it's the truth, lack of maturity. And this goes for both adults and children, especially children. Now, I'm not calling out children, but I kind of understand why children act the way they do. Trust me, I was your age at one point. I was 13 years old. I thought I owned the world. I thought I was right about everything. But one day you'll think about your past, like when you're older, like 21 or 22, and you'll say, damn, I was kind of an asshole back then. And that's normal. That's life. Trust me, I've had my moments as a kid where I thought I was right about everything. But nowadays, I'm more open-minded. I accept change. I accept other people's opinions, just as long as they're respectful in the process. But yeah, lack of maturity. Again, it goes for both children and adults. You'd be surprised at how many adults continue to diss others just because they're using a different brand than the one they prefer. It's very, very sad. All right, I'm going to wrap this up by saying this. If you're a fanboy who refuses to see the good in other brands, then I feel bad for you. I really do. You need to seek help, because that tells me a lot about your personality if you're willing to hate on others just because they like something different. Very, very odd behavior. And you're missing out on something truly innovative and awesome if you're going to limit yourself. Again, I'm a proud iOS user and iPhone user and iPad user and whatever. But has that stopped me from using Android phones in recent years? No. I especially enjoyed my time with the Samsung Galaxy Note 5 and the LG V20. Those are both excellent phones. Now, do I prefer them as my daily driver? No, because I prefer my iPhone. iOS works better for me. It's a smoother experience. Everything is well integrated between iOS, macOS, even tvOS. Like, it's a whole ecosystem. And I can't expect all Android users to understand that, but that convenience alone goes a very, very long way. But anyway, that just goes with innovation. That's exactly why I use it as an example. So yeah, don't limit yourself. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on some truly awesome experiences. Like, again, with gaming, if you only have a PS4 and you want nothing to do with Xbox One, well then you might miss out on some truly awesome games. And the same goes for being a Switch gamer and not having a PS4, and vice versa. It all goes around. And finally, I just have an example here saying, I love iOS, but I appreciate Android. I love macOS, but I appreciate Windows. I mean, come on, for God's sake, I have a freaking Windows 10 PC right behind me. So just saying, do not limit yourself. It's not good. And I do have one final note down here. Look at this. I even put a little star next to it so I wouldn't forget. And it says, all these companies are successful for a reason. So if you hate Apple, think for just a quick second. Well, maybe Apple is successful for a reason. And it's not because of iSheep or whatever. That's a stupid fucking term. I'm sorry. It really is. That's a very stupid thing to say. You could easily say the same thing about Android because they like Android, so they're going to use Android phones because it's a Google brand. There's nothing wrong with brand loyalty. But you cannot forget this. All companies are successful for a reason. Windows. I'm not a primary Windows user every single day, but I appreciate Microsoft's success. And if you're not a Mac user every day, you should still appreciate Apple's success. Success does not happen overnight. Success does not happen accidentally. So we need to think like open-minded adults and appreciate everything we have in life. And choice. It comes down to choice. We have the choice, and I cannot express how critically important that is. And never forget that. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I look forward to your comments right below. And again, I'm not being hateful. I'm not. I actually thought it was pretty good in this video. It wasn't too bad. Thank you so much. Your support means a lot. And I'll see you next time. Peace.